Hello and welcome to Just One More Watch. Welcome today to my second encounter with a bronze watch from Singaporean micro brand Zelos. Now if you're a regular here or you follow me on Instagram at Just One More Watch, perhaps you've spotted this one on more than one occasion. This is my Zelos Mako. Now I received this one in early May and I really liked it. Gave it a good review at the time and I've been wearing it quite a lot. It's very well made, the loom is fantastic, it feels great on wrist, and I've had that experience that I was hoping to have with a bronze watch. Watching it change, develop, patina, every time you put it on, it looks different. It's quite remarkable in practice. I also got quite an unexpected reaction when I took it swimming in the sea last week. I'll talk about that when we get into today's review. So the Zelos Hammer then, I have got good news and I have got bad news. Which do you want first? Positive, the good news. Okay, the good news is this watch is only $350 for a big, handsome, well-made bronze dive watch with an excellent rubber strap and a Seiko hacking and hand winding movement, a fantastic price. The bad news is they're almost all sold out already. Now, different companies that I have encountered over the last couple of years have all got different sales models, and Zelos seem to have their own particular way of doing things. They take pre-orders pretty close to the actual production date and offer considerable discounts at that point. As a consequence, by the time the watches actually are shipped, they're usually pretty much sold out. So if you're unlucky enough to miss out on the Hammerhead on this occasion, my advice to you is sign up for the mailing list. Zelos, from what I can see anyway, are an excellent company. The two watches that I've looked at so far have been fantastic, offering excellent value for money. They certainly are a company that I wouldn't mind receiving an email or two from in the future. Alright, let's flip the camera and have a look at this Hammerhead then. So, assuming that you are lucky enough to snag one of these big guys for the $349 pre-order price, what exactly do you get for your cash then? Well, you get this very pleasant wooden cigar box for a start, which is nice to see on a watch at this price point, and you get one of those Zelos rolls. You may have seen me ship some watches to Fiji for my honeymoon using this one. And contained within the roll, you will find a very pleasant bronze 1-year warranty card. Only a 1-year warranty. Always nice to see 2 years or more with autos, but only a 1 year from Zelos. And then the watch itself, and it's another big bronze beauty. Let's get some close-ups. So 44mm in diameter, big boy today, 17.5mm thick, although a considerable number of those millimeters caused by the dome sapphire crystal, but only 48mm lug tip to lug tip, so actually wears quite well in spite of a couple of considerable dimensions. 22mm lug width and weighing in at 148 grams on the rubber strap, so it certainly is a bit of a big boy, certainly when compared to the slightly smaller 40mm Mako that I showed you earlier on. Case, crown and bezel all made of marine grade bronze today. Case back though is stainless steel. I think a choice so as not to leave green marks on your wrist, and also for anti-allergy properties. Now we've got a couple of Hammerhead sharks, obviously the name of the watch itself, just advertising Seiko automatic movement, sapphire crystal and 1,000 meters of water resistance, so a massive overkill in terms of the water resistance, and 34 out of 100, so all of these watches are limited runs, hence the reason that they're all selling out pretty quickly. As you'd expect, we have a 120 click unidirectional rotating dive time bezel. Action is very nice indeed, very positive and no backplay. The movement, as mentioned, is the venerable Seiko NH35, hacks hand winds, 24 joule, 40-hour power reserve. Accurate, reliable, rugged and robust. No movement accuracy report today. This one pretty much just arrived in Sydney, and if I'd waited any longer, then they would all have been sold out. So I thought I would get this video live as quickly as possible. So zoomed in on an interesting angular case, couple of different textures there already with the bronze, and a very nicely machined bezel, certainly a few angles with this one. Now, it's pretty much as soon as you take it out of the sealed packaging that it comes in, it's starts to change, it starts to darken, and it starts to develop that patina that I talked about. I'll do a side by side with my Mako, give you an idea of what it looks like after a couple of months, but that's what one looks like box fresh. And the rubber strap is pretty decent. It's thick but still plenty flexible. You've got those big perforations to help reduce sweat on the upper half, and you've got a couple of fasteners there, one with a nice Zelos Z imprint and a cracking big bronze buckle as well to boot. Zoomed right in on the dial, you've got that circular blue sunburst effect. On this one, Zelos logo under the 12, 1000 meters above the 6, and a nice neatly integrated date wheel down there above the 6 as well. I think a good choice rather than having it lopsidedly over at the 3. And if I turn it on an angle, you can see little cheese wedge shaped indices, also in bronze, plenty of lume in those ones, adding a little bit of depth and visual interest to the dial. Big bronze chapter ring at the back also. And I'll pop up a lume video. You are certainly well catered for if you're into lume with these Zelos. Fully lumed bezel insert as well. Big indices on the hours. Lots of lume on the hands, and you've got that kind of glowing minute track around the outside in a slightly different tone. And as a bonus, lumed crown. The other Zelos also has this. In effect, you hardly notice it because it sits parallel to your wrist, but a cute little touch. Definitely no shortage of lume on the hammerhead. And there it is on my 7-inch wrist. You're certainly not going to forget that you put a watch on this morning, but those relatively short 48mm lug tip to lug tip dimensions mean that it actually wears very nicely indeed. Looks pretty bling to begin with, but they do tone down. Nice blue sunburst dial on this one. I think the olive green and black have already sold out. But don't worry, if you miss out on the $349 hammerhead, there are other options for you. They also have meteorite dialed versions in black and brown for a couple of $100 more. These ones come in at $549. You can see that nice domed sapphire crystal on top there, giving it a lovely bit of distortion at the edges of the viewing angle. Now this is a pre-production sample they also sent me. A couple of rough edges on this one, so I didn't want to show it in too much detail, but it will give you an idea of what this watch looks like with that meteorite dial if you want to go the whole hog. Plenty of visual interest here in this one, all those angles, different textures as well. And back onto the blue dial one, zoomed out for a little bit of perspective. It's a big chunky watch, this one, and no mistake. But as I said, because of those 48mm lugs, it wears alright. 22 all the way around, big chunky buckle. You certainly wouldn't want to have a flimsy strap on this, it just wouldn't suit it at all. But certainly an eye-catching watch. So what is this shiny bronze beast going to look like in 3 months' time then? Well, it's going to look a little less like this and a little more like that. Now you might be thinking, oh, that looks a bit drab, but believe me, it isn't. It is gorgeous. It has been fascinating to watch my Mako change colour on pretty much a daily basis. Over the last couple of months, I took this one on holiday with me. You may have seen that video. And it was fascinating watching it on a daily basis there, going in and out of the water. Now, I took it in the sea a few times, didn't get what I was expecting. It actually cleaned the watch up. It always came out of the sea looking brighter than it went in. But just love the kind of green tinges you get there and the bezel recesses. And I expect this one has not even begun to develop its character really long term. As I said, this one's a keeper for me. I'll hopefully update you with how this watch looks over the months and the years to come. Fascinating. Moans and niggles then. Well, 44mm and 17.5mm thick. Not exactly something you can slip under a shirt cuff for office duties Monday to Friday unless you wear your shirts like a wizard's sleeve. However, as good as the lume is on those indices and the hands, I find it a little bit granular. It looks like it has been painted on top rather than filled like the indices on the Mako are. It's a little bit of a textural thing happening there. A couple of slightly rough edges on those indices and a little bit of texturing on the hands. But apart from that, very impressed with this one overall at $349 if you can manage to snare one at that price. So another top value bronze timepiece then from Zelos, perhaps not quite the killer deal that the Mako was. They were selling them on pre-order for $429 with a Sellita 200 inside. But this one, I guess, considerably larger. There's a lot more marine grade bronze gone into the case, the crown and the bezel of this one. Highly recommended getting onto Zelos's mailing list, seeing what their future output looks like and getting those early bird specials. So there you have it, the Zelos Hammerhead. Nice work if you can get it. If they haven't all sold out, I suggest picking up one of these if you're at all interested. If they have all sold out, I'm sorry about that. This watch was a bit later getting to me than had been expected, hence the reason my video has gone up just before the pre-order campaign expires. As I suggested, I recommend giving your email address to Zelos and getting on board the next time they do one of these pre-order offers. The discounts are not to be sniffed at. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.